The story begins with a woman named Erica, who went to a waterfall with her husband. They arrived at a beautiful spot. The sound of the water flowing and the greenery of the surroundings made the atmosphere feel refreshing. Erica, excited, urged her husband to climb to the top of the waterfall and jump together. However, her husband immediately shook his head. "I can't. I'm afraid of heights," he said with a worried look on his face. Erica just chuckled. "Well, I'll go up alone then. You wait down here," she said as she started walking up the stairs toward the top of the waterfall. When she reached the top, Erica tried calling her husband again. She waved her hand while shouting, "Come on, you should come up here too. The view is amazing," but her husband could only wave from below. The roar of the rushing waterfall made it hard for them to hear each other. Erica finally decided not to force it. She sighed and looked around. Suddenly, a man appeared behind Erica. His face wasn't very clear because he was blocked by Erica, but his hand was holding something shiny. Her husband, noticing this, immediately panicked. From below, he shouted as loud as he could, warning Erica, but the loud roar of the waterfall drowned out his voice. Erica remained unaware of what was happening. The story continues with a focus on another woman named Isabella, who lives in Los Angeles. Isabella had just arrived home. From the look on her face, it was clear that Isabella was deep in thought. She sighed, as if trying to calm herself down. Patrick, her husband, noticed this. "Are you okay? Why do you look so down?" he asked with a concerned tone. Isabella shrugged. "I just feel lost," she replied. She then shared that since she stopped teaching yoga, her life felt empty. Anxiety often struck, and Isabella felt unhappy with her current situation. Patrick tried to comfort her. "So, you want to go back to teaching yoga? Didn't that not promise a good future?" Isabella quickly explained. "That's not what I meant. I just wanted to talk about how I feel. I'm not saying I want to quit law school." A few days later, Isabella received an invitation to join a retreat from a famous yoga instructor named Remy Morrow. Isabella was both surprised and excited because she had tried to apply for this retreat 5 times before, but was never accepted. Now, the opportunity had finally come. Isabella immediately told Patrick about the invitation. Although Patrick wasn't really fond of the idea, in the end he allowed Isabella to go because he wanted to support his wife. Isabella finally arrived at an exclusive resort that was the location of the retreat. It was very remote, seemingly outside of North America. Upon arrival, Isabella met her friend, Pam. It turned out Pam also received an invitation from Remy. "Are you still with Patrick?" Pam asked jokingly. Isabella chuckled. "Oh my gosh, we just got married. Are we already getting divorced?" Pam just nodded, smiling. "I've been a widow twice. Now I'm open to anyone, especially Remy. I think he's incredibly attractive." Isabella only gave a slight smile. "I think he's just average. Besides, I'm married, so there's no way I'd be messing around." Soon after, Remy gathered all the participants for a briefing. Remy explained that this retreat was not for those who were half-hearted. If anyone couldn't handle it physically or mentally, they would be sent home immediately. After the briefing session was over, Remy told them to rest. "Our class starts at 4 p.m. later. Don't be late," he said with a confident smile. The yoga class finally began, and the atmosphere immediately became tense. Remy, as the main instructor, quickly demonstrated a tough and unforgiving training method. Nina became the first victim. Her body couldn't handle the physical pressure that Remy was putting on her. Nina collapsed, and Remy quickly approached her, whispering something that made Nina go silent. After the class, curiosity overwhelmed Isabella and Pam. They approached Nina and asked what Remy had actually said. With a confused expression, Nina replied, "Remy asked me to come to his room tonight." Pam immediately made a sarcastic comment. "That means Nina's getting sent home." When night arrived, Nina, with mixed feelings, made her way to Remy's room as instructed. Inside the room, Remy looked at her and said in a tense tone, "I have to send you home because your physical condition isn't good enough to continue this class. But there's one way to avoid that." Nina stared at Remy in confusion before finally realizing what he truly meant. Remy blatantly asked Nina to do something inappropriate in exchange for being allowed to stay at the retreat. However, Nina firmly refused. "I'm married, and I won't betray my husband," she said, trying to remain calm. Remy didn't seem disturbed by the rejection. He gave a faint smile and then offered Nina some shrimp that he had prepared. Nina, knowing she was allergic to shrimp, quickly declined. But Remy insisted she eat it. Despite her resistance, Nina couldn't fight the pressure. The next day, Jeffrey, the resort manager, was called into Remy's presence. They got into a heated argument. Jeffrey seemed frustrated because Remy asked him to handle the death of Nina, which had occurred the previous night. Jeffrey was tasked with finding a plausible explanation for Nina's family. Reluctantly, Jeffrey agreed to Remy's request. On the other hand, Pam noticed Nina wasn't in the yoga class that morning. Pam immediately assumed that Nina must have been sent home. However, Isabella remained optimistic and hoped that Nina would show up. At lunchtime, the atmosphere became more relaxed. Pam started complaining about the pain from the tough exercises Remy had given. Isabella, jokingly, tried to imitate how Remy motivated the participants, making Pam laugh. However, their worries grew when Isabella and Pam spoke directly with Remy, confirming they wouldn't be sent home. Remy, with his signature smile, reassured them, "You two are the most outstanding participants. There's nothing to worry about." Remy then asked Isabella, "Do I look scary?" Isabella answered jokingly, "Of course, you're very strict." Remy just laughed softly and then gently took Isabella's hand. "I'm a perfectionist. All of this is just to make you better." Pam watched this with an envious expression. Pam joked, "You're really lucky, Isa. Remy seems so attentive to you." However, Isabella immediately disagreed. "I'm married, Pam. Don't think weird things." At the next training session, it was another participant, Gretchen, who fell victim to Remy's harsh methods. Gretchen fainted due to dehydration. Isabella immediately blamed Remy's approach, thinking it was too extreme. But Pam and the other participants defended Remy. They saw the pressure as part of the process. "Anyone who makes it through this retreat will earn an amazing reputation," Pam said, strongly defending the tough training. That afternoon, Isabella decided not to attend the party held at the resort. When Remy found out, he went straight to Isabella's room. "Why don't you want to come? It's a chance to relax a little," Remy said, smiling. "I don't have a dress, and besides, I came here to train, not to party," Isabella replied, trying to avoid it. Remy didn't give up. "Don't worry, I'll find you a dress." After some persuasion, Isabella finally agreed to attend. Pam, who knew about this, immediately teased Isabella. Is there something special going on? Maybe you're special in Remy's eyes." Isabella just smiled and shook her head. Soon after, a receptionist brought a beautiful dress for Isabella, which had indeed been ordered by Remy. The story continues with Remy meeting Gretchen, who was about to leave the hotel. Gretchen approached him, hoping she could still stay, asking Remy to reconsider and let her remain. Remy, who appeared calm, set a condition. "You can stay, but there's something you need to do." Gretchen, without hesitation, immediately agreed. Unlike Nina, who had refused, Gretchen happily accepted Remy's offer. That night, they met in a secluded spot, behind some bushes on a sandy patch. Afterward, Remy told Gretchen that he had to head to the party. Gretchen intended to join him, but Remy stopped her, saying the party was only for registered guests. "You've been sent home," Remy said firmly. Feeling betrayed, Gretchen was furious. She vowed to get revenge on Remy for his treatment. Meanwhile, Isabella had just arrived at the party venue. Shortly after, Remy appeared and delivered some surprising news. "I've selected 4 people who will join me for a special session in the mountains. They are Lisa, Everly, Pam, and Isabella." Isabella didn't feel too happy hearing the news, especially after learning that there would be no signal in the mountains, so she would have trouble reaching Patrick. They then started talking about why they were there. Lisa revealed that she was suffering from pain and chose yoga to calm herself, while Everly practiced yoga as a form of meditation due to problems with men. Isabella, feeling confused about her life, began to explain that she came here to find answers about her feelings and the life she had been living. The next morning, as Isabella had just woken up and Pam knocked on her door, they got ready to hike with Remy. However, something suspicious happened. Everly suddenly disappeared. Lisa, Everly's close friend, revealed that this wasn't the first time Everly had acted strange. Before, Everly came home at 3 a.m. just because she missed her boyfriend, Lisa said. Everyone assumed Everly had gone home early, but there was a darker possibility. Everly might have fallen victim to Remy. After some time, Isabella received a call from Patrick. Calmly, Isabella told him that she was going to the mountains and there would be no signal there. Shortly after, Remy appeared out of nowhere and greeted Patrick. With his trademark smile, Remy said he would take care of Isabella while they were in the mountains. But his way of saying it made Patrick start to overthink. The 4 of them finally arrived at the place they were told was the mountain. Remy immediately started holding a class outdoors while continuously staying close to Isabella. It turned out that from the beginning, Remy had already targeted Isabella as his main focus, even though he pretended to care about the other participants. Night arrived, and they sat around the campfire, chatting aimlessly. Pam, noticing that Remy still looked fresh despite hiking and doing yoga, asked, "Why does Remy still look so fit? We're all exhausted." Remy just smiled and replied, "Actually, I'm tired too, but I can control my body, control my fatigue." Remy began telling stories about his violent childhood. "When I was 12, I used to get beaten up by my mom's boyfriend. From that, I learned 2 things. Strength comes from within, and pain is everywhere." Remy continued, "Luckily, my mom's boyfriend died in a car accident. Now I can grow stronger, and I hope I can inspire many people." Of course, Pam and the others felt a bit weird hearing Remy's story, but they still respected what he was saying. That night, Isabella woke up from a strange nightmare. In her dream, Remy came into her tent, and without much talk, Isabella told him to hug her. As soon as she woke up, Isabella felt anxious, but it turned out Remy did come to talk to her. Remy believed that Isabella wanted him too, based on the way she had looked at him earlier. However, Isabella immediately rejected him firmly. "You misunderstood," she said, then asked Remy to leave her tent. They eventually agreed to forget the misunderstanding, though there was a clear tension between them. The next day, Remy took them all to a waterfall, the place where Erica died earlier in the story. Remy told them that Erica was a hiker who died in an accident. With that story, Remy made them believe that Erica was just another accident victim, even though, in reality, Erica might have been one of Remy's victims. While Isabella and Remy tried to act normal, there was an unspoken tension between them. That day, they subtly teased each other, as if there was more to their meeting than just a casual encounter. Eventually, Remy took them to practice again by the riverbank, but the atmosphere grew more tense over time. After finishing their training, Isabella tried to call Patrick, but of course, there was no signal. Meanwhile, Pam asked Remy to step away from the group and take a walk into the forest. At the same time, Lisa started looking pale and disoriented. It turned out that Lisa had run out of energy, not because of the yoga practice, but because of exhaustion from the hike earlier. Remember, Lisa only has one functioning lung, so she tires really easily. When Pam and Remy returned, they found Lisa had passed out. Remy immediately told them to find signal to call for help, but it was actually a sneaky trick by Remy to get them away from Lisa. His goal was to take care of Lisa without anyone getting in the way. By the time they got back, unfortunately, Lisa was gone. Seeing that, Isabella immediately realized that Remy had been trying to get them away from Lisa from the start. Pam, who was starting to think more clearly, immediately believed Isabella. Pam was furious and threatened to report Remy to the police. After a chase, Isabella finally managed to distract Remy and got the chance to fight back. She didn't hesitate to finish him off. After that, they returned to the resort, and Isabella saw that the police had already found the body of another victim. A few hours later, Patrick showed up, worried about Isabella's safety after seeing the news circulating. And the ending? Well, it's pretty confusing. It turns out that Remy had specifically been targeting married women. The proof? Back when Isabella was a yoga instructor, she never received an invite to the retreat. Only after marrying Patrick did she get an invitation, even though Isabella had already stopped being a yoga instructor. And there was actually a reason behind everything that happened.